How you doing? How's it going? You're all very welcome to episode 41 of Buckshot for Wednesday. A little late in the day, Wednesday, the 17th of the 1st. It is 17th, Christ, is it? Yeah, it is. Fuck it, it's going out today anyway. 17th of the 1st, 2018. How in the Jesus are you? You're all very welcome. As per usual, whatever platform you're listening to this on, subscribe. That's kind of the simplest way I can tell you. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on all the usual, SoundCloud, all those usual spots and everything else. But fuck it, lads. Just subscribe to whatever you're listening to this thing on. Share it, tell everybody about it. If it is iTunes, give them an alpha. Give it a rating afterwards if you do like it. If you don't like it, then forget that there's a rating system. I've been told that rating it, do you know what I mean? I don't know, I was rating it. If you listen to the whole fucking thing and you say, I'm enjoying the podcast, that's kind of enough really for me at the minute. We'll at a later date, is there even a point? The whole podcasting thing, basically, it's to get positions on fucking charts and stuff like that is quite good for sponsorship and all the rest of it. So I suppose, yeah, why not? I mean, it'd be great to have an old sponsor. I think I'd like to do a beer one or something like that. Fuck it, I'd do a fucking makeup one if they wanted to give me a few quid. Anyway, all the usual things. If you want to find me anywhere, Buckshot Pod or Tom O'Mahony, at Buckshot Pod on Twitter and at Tom_O'Mahony on Twitter as well. If you want to send out an email, buckshotpodcast@gmail or Tom O'Mahony Comedy. Like I said, I'm quite easy to find. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the usual places. Tom O'Mahony Comedy on all those other ones. And the old chatty snaps, that one is Tom Bear O'Mahony. As I've explained in the past, for some reason they just wouldn't let me change it. That's what it came in as, and I don't know. I can't remember the process. Let's not get fucking stressed out about it. If you're listening, you're listening. You're all very welcome. How's your week been since I talked to you last? Couple of nice messages from people during the week, over the weekend, that enjoyed the podcast. Just getting them through their fucking weekend. Get them through the week. If you're saving it for some dreary day, I can understand. Dreary days, Christ almighty. I don't know where you are in the world, but yeah, we got blasted with snow. I quite literally got snowed in. I was heading out to meet Gordon today, today's guest, and the fucking gate, the 200-year-old cast iron fucking gate on the front of the house had gone, nah, not opening, fuck that. So I had to quite literally pour boiling water on the hinge. I nearly had to strap it to the front of the car just with a fucking chain and open the Christ and thing. I was snowed in, literally snowed in. It was, yeah, I felt like I was in Alaska or something. It was pegging fucking snow this morning at a rate of knots. Almost slid across the road in front of a truck. Yeah, that was exciting. Fuck me. It was hairy enough conditions now this morning. Apparently it's snowing in South Carolina, according to chap I know through chatty snappy chats. South Carolina. I didn't think it snowed there. I could be. I'm to be corrected if anybody knows any different. Feel free. I didn't think it snowed there. This one is Storm Fionn. Apparently, it's kicking the living shit out of the west coast. So where I am right now, kind of hunkered down in the eastern Midlands, it's absolutely grand. Really, bit of fucking snow. Sure, look at the dog loves it anyway. Christ Almighty. What? Yeah, I'm trying to think now. Oh yeah, got back gigging finally. I was headlining in the Halfpenny Bridge Comedy Club, which is Unhinged Comedy Club, on Sunday night. Man, town was dead around the place, but the comedy club was full, so it's a good indictment of it anyway. I'm guessing the lads are on TripAdvisor or whatever, but it was you don't know, like, when I've been away from the stage, I think, well, I say stage, obviously I've been doing panto and stuff for the past couple of fucking weeks, but I thought now this one's going to be rusty. Nah, it was fucking glorious. I got to curse again in front of adults. It was great. It was good for the old system. Mostly a foreign audience, but they were all good crack. There was an Austrian woman there. She was good for an old bit of banter. I didn't go after her the typical way, but she was a bit lippy, so I wasn't. It was great to just kind of give a verbal kind of slap in the face. It was great. She gave as good as she got. It was great crack. Gang of Americans kicked the shit out of them as well, verbally. It was good for the soul. It was really good. I updated. I said I'd do it on the Facebook page. I lashed up a bunch of dates. There's a couple more after coming in as well. I must update it again. And people have been messaging just where to get tickets and stuff like that. Honest to God, lads, if you any of those clubs that you see I didn't put a, you know, what do they call it, like a hyperlink, like an of the whatchamacallit, but just copy and paste the club into Facebook. They all have Facebook pages. You'll find them, no problem. Yeah, I had to turn down some gigs. See, I kind of signed up to, I do this hosting thing for Heineken during the Six Nations coming up and stuff like that, which should be a bit of crack. I'm going to start actually on a direct order from today's guest, who is a man on many multi levels when it comes to, I suppose, I don't know what the fuck you call it, from podcasting to vlogging, essentially, and vlogging is where it's at, and it sounds like good fucking crack, like just kind of cutting together kind of just short funny videos, maybe 7-8 minutes every week, throwing them out there at what they all, it's a condensed kind of personal podcast but in video form of just a bit of crack, the stuff I get up to and all the rest of it. The weekend, it was to be, I didn't go drinking hard over Christmas, so people were all about this dry January. How's it going? Anybody still upkeeping dry January, are you? I am. So I didn't. We had family come up. We had relations come up to the house as a kind of mini celebration of Christmas. So I did rabbit and venison just to make it weird. They ate it. They enjoyed it, and had a couple of delicious pints. Fucking delicious, because I knew I'd nothing on Sunday. Bar, obviously, I was heading out Sunday night to do a gig, but it was just, they were glorious. So dry January. I haven't not started well, if that's the thing you're supposed to be doing. But then again, I didn't get a chance to overindulge with work over Christmas, so fuck it. I feel alright about myself. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, the vlogging, you're definitely going to be doing more of that. Of the good crack stuff. Like, cause I was looking at some of the stuff and going, what the fuck? Lads, ye are dragging the bollocks out of a situation trying to get a bit of crack out of it. Like, I mean, I don't know, I didn't think anybody would have any interest in watching me do stuff, but apparently people don't go shooting guns and stuff like that and driving quads and going to comedy gigs. But I suppose I could film from my point of view what it's like to walk on stage and have a bit of banter with the audience. Throw up a couple of bits of them if you're interested. Let me know. Give me some insight into the vlogs and kind of people you follow on YouTube and stuff like that, just so I can get an idea what the fuck I'm dealing with, because I only just started looking at these things. I had no idea, but it's at, I think Ireland might be a little bit behind the times when it comes to these things. Like, podcasts are only starting to catch up now, like the likes of some of my panto mates, as you heard, the last two, Leanne and Samantha. It was their first time ever being on podcasts. Two well-known people, never been on podcasts before, so not a lot of people even in Ireland know about podcasts or kind of are digging them. The people that listen to this one, they're class. You're ahead of the fucking game, lads. You're ahead of the game. I'm not going to bore the pants off you with any more shit, really. I mean, that's been, I can talk more about what's going on, but you know what, I'm gonna, now that I'm after hearing about this vlog thing, I prefer to be putting more of this stuff on video for you, so you can just, when you're out smoking a fag at work or waiting on some bollocks to pick you up, or you're on the bus or whatever, these things are going to be coming soon enough, because today's guest, Gordon, he's actually building my website as well, so it's pretty much finished. We're going to video call, because both of us are flat out. We're going to video call early next week and hopefully get it finished off. It's going to be, finally putting all this shit together in one, because when you're relying on the likes of Facebook and all the rest, people are on it and all the rest of it, but Facebook fucking let you see whatever they want you to see, like, you know, that kind of way. At least on the website, you'll have chosen to go to the fucking thing. As far as that, today's guest, Gordon Rochford, most people probably listen to this will, if you're podcasty people, Irish podcasty people, you'll probably have come across Gordon's one. He has Ireland's most successful podcast now. I mean, his one it's got the most downloads. As an Irish podcast, it's got the most worldwide downloads. This is the thing we were chatting about. How do you rate, because there are some other ones that are the most popular in Ireland because they rate it country to country, but the most downloaded ones, is his one, those conspiracy guys. And we talk the whole way through about social just situations and all the rest of it, and the world we're kind of living in. It was a hectic one, alright. It was full throttle. Again, another one that could have gone on for 5 or 6 hours, had we actually had the fucking time. Ironically, it was his podcast that was dragging him away, basically, and I had stuff to be doing as well. We also, he talks about in it, if you haven't heard those conspiracy guys, get on it straight away and pick out you have a plethora of every fortnight they stick up, and it's not tin hat shit. It's basically just investigate everything from, say, JFK to 9/11 to the Mormons to fucking Jimmy Savile to fucking hell, the Nazis to... It's not all fucking horrific shit, but do you know what I mean? There's stuff from the Illuminati. There's, you know, the Italian mafia, and they go 5-6 hours in depth looking at all sides of the situation and how it came about and everything else. You wouldn't be disappointed if you're kind of in... If you want to know fully, if anything, for a good funny history lesson, because Gordon, of course, is he's one of the first blokes I ever met in comedy. He ran a great club in the Mercantile, got Comedy Ha. He was fucking great. He was a great comedian too. I mean, but he went a different path, went down this one, and we didn't even get a chance to fully get into that, like, you know, how he ended up here and there. I mean, there's ridiculous amount left on the bone for another episode further down the line. But he talked about his GoFundMe situation. His GoFundMe fundraiser at the minute, and basically what he wants to do is take the conspiracy guys on the road and make documentaries, 12 documentaries around the States, going to all these places that they've talked about and investigated in their podcast, and do it for an entire year and turn out this shit hot. And basically it's a GoFundMe, $5. Fuck, you won't be sorry. You really won't be sorry. And you'll benefit from it in the way of Patreon and all these other things. He talks about it in the end. Now, if you would excuse, the end bit gets a little noisy in this, because we were in a cafe, really nice cafe on Cable Street, and the problem was we were fucking rabbiting for so long ourselves, just catching up, and I just hit record, and we should have hit record straight away, is what I'm saying. Lunchtime, it came around to lunchtime, and a gang of lads came in, so we sat a bit closer to the mics and all the rest of it, so you should be able to hear us absolutely fine. But what it is, it just gets a little noisy towards the end, and Gordon does explain about the whole GoFundMe. I'll be putting the links to all that in the description of this podcast. For now, I'm going to just get out of the fucking way and let the show kick off. So for the 17th time, I'd say I've mentioned Gordon's name, please give it up for my very good friend, Gordon Rochford. To the races.
Hey,
Gordon Rochford. Were you ever tempted? Because and this only dawned on me the other night, so I don't know. Were you ever tempted? I mean, Those Conspiracy Guys is now my most favourite podcast outside of my own.
Get out of it.
No, it's perfect.
Really?
I've talked about this. It's perfect for long drive. Have you ever tempted to call it the Rochford Files?
Yeah,
were you?
My big brother, he was obsessed with that, because like Rochford is a pretty weird name.
It's a cool name though. Like if Rochford made peanuts, I'd definitely eat those peanuts.
Yeah, there's a fancy dark ale called Rochford. I think it's based on like the French. See, because I went looking up my name, you know, after watching the Da Vinci Code, and I was like, geez, I sound like a fancy bastard.
You do, Gordon Rochford.
Rochford, you know, and I went looking it up, and apparently Rochford is one of these families that's included in the Merovingian bloodline, you know, like in the Da Vinci Code. So it's like there's 13 main families, and then there's like 65
Illuminati people, like.
Not Illuminati, it's like from this bloodline descendants of Jesus Christ. What an audacious way to start a podcast, Tom.
I was wondering, your beard is coming along nicely.
Can we get some more water here, please? You're driving, are you?
I'm driving.
Alright, no water for Tom. But it's like you know, a weird name that you never really get used to. And I missed out on a nickname in school because my cousin, like, I should have been Rasher, you know, like Rochford, like Rashford.
Yeah.
When you say Rashford in Wexford, you know, I should have been Rasher. And my older brother, who was, you know, looking for something like the Rochford Files, is more of an 80s kid.
Of course it is, yeah.
So he has that as his ringtone on his phone and shit.
He does
like, and it's kind of identified with that. But I had nothing. I was like, who the fuck is called Rochford when I'm growing up?
Yeah.
And they were all Cobains and all when I was growing up, you know. And so
Kurt's people.
No, the Kurt's and all, you know, the Cobains and the Murphys. So I had a nickname that I missed out on in secondary school, and my older brother was Rasher, which later turned into Rochi.
Right.
And I came into school with two of my cousins that were the same age, and we were all Rochfords.
Fuck.
But my cousin's big brother was in 6th year, and he was rasher.
Ah, Jesus.
So it obviously has to pass down through the family line. And my cousin got rasher, and I got like, "Hey you fat cunt," or whatever. People used to call me like. It's
snappy.
It's snappy. It's bad to be called if you're in the churchyard or something and someone's trying to get your attention. But no, it just I was raging because I didn't have that identity. But I'm kind of glad now because now I'm just Gorgo.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not like, if you have a school nickname and it continues on into your adult life, it kind of tethers you to a personality that you might want to
leave behind.
A butterfly escaping from a chrysalis. Except your chrysalis just fucking hangs onto your feet, and every time you go home for Christmas, people call you by that name, and you instantly embody that character again.
There was a lad growing up, but he was in school with me, known as Fanny for it.
Yeah, and he'll never get away from that.
Oh, but he can't, because he actually has a line down the middle of his forehead.
Yeah, but nobody in his office is like, "So Fanny for it, what are the projections like for March?" You're like, but when he goes home at Christmas time, or when he goes to visit the homestead, or he's out drinking in his hometown, and someone's like, "How are you Fanny for it? Double F's." Like, if somebody says that to him, he immediately reverts to that, diminutive state.
You never, like, thinking about it now, like, you get into your 40s and whatever, and you have a kid, maybe that's like 7, and they go,
he has your genetically inherited Fanny for it, and
or even if he doesn't, like, and he's looking up to his old man, but all of a sudden they go back to the hometown and somebody shouts Fanny for it, and you're like, "Dad, did that guy just call you Fanny for it?"
Yeah, why did he call you that? Is it because your Fanny is oh my God, Dad! And he can never look at his father the same way again. Father and son. Like, that's how country songs are written.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw my daddy with a fanny on his head. Like, it's terrible. It ruins a childhood. But you were like Tom the Bear.
Yeah.
But you haven't been the character of the bear as it originated for a really long time.
No, I haven't. Like Dog Gruff.
8 years, 10 years?
Oh, it is, yeah.
So you were like an animal cage fighter who, you'd be on all fours, fucking ripping the tendons out of cunts and all.
Yeah, eating berries.
You still do that in a kind of a more kind of subdued way on stage, like
that's what it's for. That's the only way the outlet I have now. I can't turn around and I can't bark at people like I used to.
Yeah, but there's a few cunts that deserve a smack or two.
Oh no, there's no doubt. You want to see me get, like, people think they have road rage, like, but that's shout for people like inside the car. I'll pull up the fucking handbrake in traffic and get out and go back to it.
I've never seen a man keep his wheel brace on the passenger seat before.
Oh, you noticed that? Did you notice it was an extendable one too?
I didn't.
It's known as a torque. It's known as a power bar. I swear to God, it's known as power bar.
That's so you can reach over 2 lanes of traffic.
It's just like your camera stick there, basically, but the end thing is far more impactful. Like, it's just it's a 26 inch.
Depends on what the video is.
Well, that's true. Yeah, if the video was me beating somebody to death with a wheel brake.
So, like, when you get called the Bear, does that conjure up images of when you were
not
younger?
Not
you
anymore,
completely abandoned that character, or reconstituted that
it's
character?
It's probably homogenized a bit now because it's still there. Yeah. It's not like it's sprung on me as once in a fucking blue moon. It's there all the time. Like, so it's like the Incredible Hulk. I'm always angry.
It's mad how your personality can be compartmentalized like that. Like, when you go home to your mammy's house, you become like home Tom. Like, I become like home Gordo, and I have that kind of element of there's that thing that always bubbles back up, or the relationships that you had kind of reconstitute themselves, and you form roles in certain groups.
I would have been like that, but now it's changed because people treat me differently in a weird way because they see me now on things on telly and stuff like that, and I can feel it straight away because you are, as a comedian, you're kind of you're very I suppose you're receptive to fucking people's attitude and stuff, and it's not the same as it was 5-6 years ago. No. It's not, because now they're going, "Oh, well, Tom," and it's like this kind of weird. They're checking themselves.
Yes.
It's like, gee, I feel like a priest in the 1950s when I walk in, going, "Evening all,"
Yeah.
I'll just have that.
Buttholes tighten when you enter the room. But is that not similar to what it was when you were a kid?
It's similar, more so to what it was, because people didn't really know me for so much for that. They just kind of knew my rough exterior, but very much when I worked in construction. That's what I had.
Your image, though, of like, you're a tough looking bastard. Like, when you walk into a room, people would be like, "How are you?" Whereas like, you've never not had that.
No, there was a period where I probably did, but not a long period.
But like, you're used to success, so that's the thing. I mean, like, I'm not used to success. So when I have like this award-winning multi-million download podcast, you know, that's Irish. It's produced in my front room, like in a spare bedroom, you know, and predominantly while I'm in my jocks or my dressing gown. Like,
so
people don't
your
know
best
that.
work is done
In my jocks.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I've been saying it to you since day dot. Get into your underwear.
Yeah, seamless Marks and Spencers. They're €9 a pair, lads. That's fancy.
That's how
jocks.
you know a
Fancy
podcast
jocks.
is doing well for a man.
When he's paying €9 underwear.
No fucking 3-pack of pennies for fucking £5.
That's what it is. But it feels like people who don't know me now, when they meet me first, are like, "Oh, you're that guy," and they know not of me before. And it's a great kind of like metamorphosis that one can put on oneself.
Yeah.
Which I think as an artist people have to keep doing, or as a creator you have to keep doing. Like, the lad I was when I was doing comedy is dead and gone. Like, I'm off drinking drugs. I don't take a drink ever now.
Yeah.
For 7 years the other day, on the 11th of January.
You wouldn't be bothered on a celebration if somebody got it, yeah?
Not bad. You're offered champagne at Christmas, sir. So can I get you a pint? Like, I even say no to fizzy drinks and stuff now, and people are like, go on. And I'm like, no.
It's a
you
weird
just have to have resolve. Like, not that the drink didn't suit me, and I'll always tell bad stories of like, oh, the worst story when I was drinking. You never tell the stories like, I went out, I had a few scoops, we had a great night, it was a lot of laughs, and then I went home. Like, nobody ever tells those stories in interviews because, you know, you're always like, I remember the time that I jumped out in front of a car. Like, I felt that it wasn't. I was using it maybe as an excuse to enliven an inner part of me that wanted to get out, that wanted to be braggadocious and you know, over the top and all this stuff. I mean, not to the levels of some comedians in Dublin that would take any action and just use their personality as an excuse. But it's just like I was using the drink to go like, okay, now I can say what I want, and if I say something wrong,
you can blame
just blame the drink.
Yeah.
Or if I do something, people are like, oh my god, he's crazy. He's like, yeah, but he's saying when he's not drinking. Like, these kind of things.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
I have to amalgamate both of those sides of my personality and go, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need drink to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I'm obviously, you know, causing less trouble and vomiting an awful lot less these days. But I could do with a bit of vomiting, actually. Touch of bulimia wouldn't go straight in.
No, tapeworm.
Yeah,
I know, man.
Yeah. A couple of worms would sort me out and I'd lose a few lbs. But trying to put like the podcast me and then the personal me. Yeah. Like, everything is just amalgamating into something that I'm kind of enjoying at the moment.
Of course,
when you're meeting people and they know that you're a podcaster and they're a podcaster and they're like, oh, hey, you're the guy that does the thing, how do you do this stuff? Like, it's nice that there's actually a bit of success happening now.
Well, it's still, I mean, you can say it's podcast or whatever, but at the same time, it's you, like, it's not like you're working for a fella and producing a thing through them, and people know you for that and give you respect, because you go, I'm still just fucking, I'm making windows for fucking Johnny Ryan, like. Those conspiracy guys is Gordon Rochford. Do you know what I mean?
That's the hard part as well.
It's the very same as you going into a cage and fight. It's the exact same thing. It's you with your Mickey out the whole way through, like, and people get a good look at your Mickey and they like what they see.
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
I've never got any complaints.
No, it's hence to why you walk around your jocks.
But it's or an open dressing gown. But it's been very difficult now to separate my own personal life from those conspiracies.
On what level?
Identity.
Like social media?
No, like, even just like if I'm away anywhere. You're on holidays and then like the phone starts going and there's a load of people on. Like, we have a Discord server.
Well, you've no choice.
Or we have social media. No, that's the job I've chosen, and that's how you live it. You know, you're like I don't mean to conflate like my podcasting with like a medical professional, but it's like being a doctor. You know, wherever you are, you're always on call. And if somebody asks you a question, if you don't answer it, you're possibly losing out on a listener, or you're losing out on a Patreon subscriber, or you're losing out on a fan of it.
And trying to explain that to other people is like, it's like you're cunt down on his phone. If Jesus Christ, we're here at a meal, like,
well, me and my girlfriend, like, we have
she knows,
no phone time, but she knows that's the job, and it's flexible in other ways. Where I don't have to be at work at 9 in the morning, I don't have to be, I'm at home at 5 o'clock every evening. I might have to do like video calls at night time to American people, or like we could be recording for 12 hours in a day. Yeah. And you wouldn't see me only for to come out for a piss. Like,
have you thought about putting a urinal into the office?
Just a catheter.
Just a catheter.
Yeah. A show recording catheter. But it ends up being like, like that's when I started off. That's what most of our fights were about. Was like, you don't spend any time with me. You're fucking doing this thing, and I'm like, I'm obsessed. I have to do this because I was working like 2 jobs at the same time. So I was working at a phone shop, and then I was doing this musical pub crawl in the evening. So I'd work like 9 to 6 in the phone shop, and then I'd work like 6 to 10 at this other thing, and I'd be home at 11 from like 8 in the morning. I'd have my work clothes in my fucking bag, like, and we'd come home bollocks, eat a dinner at 11 o'clock. And then sit down at the computer for 3 hours and start like making a website or researching for the show or like making notes, watching documentaries, doing social media stuff. And I did that for like nearly 2 years. And Claire, like my girlfriend, she was boxing the head off me. It's like, you didn't put out the bins. I was like, I was working. She's like, yeah, but like the bins. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, and to be fair, she was right.
Yeah, the balance, trying to find
balance is right.
Jesus Christ, like, I mean, nobody writes the book on that, though. Do you know what I mean? Nobody writes the fucking book. If there was a book to be written, like, you probably, well, you wouldn't have read that.
I didn't read it. I fucked it all up. But I watch a load of those dudes. Like, I watch like Gary Vaynerchuk, and I watch Simon Sinek, and I watch all these guys like sociologists and entrepreneurs and all that. I'm training my mind to be like that, to look for every opportunity for advancement and for, I don't want to say profitability, because like you can't really say like profitability on art or on something creative, but it is a product and it does have to be marketed properly and it does have to be maintained. So I watch all these guys for tips and tricks on how to do it, as well as like watching stuff for technology, watching out for new technology, watching lads on how to make podcasts, how to edit better audio, how to make better video. Like, it's all tutorials. I'm learning all the time, and I do that for 2 hours every day, like watching how-tos and technical videos on how to edit, how to make your podcast sound better, like how to even like sit up straight and enunciate. And
Jesus, the amount of nerdy lads you have to listen to the
so many, man.
Jesus, the amount, like, YouTube is great for tutorials, but when you go to some cunt has that robot voice, then that just sends me over the edge.
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to make the show for, because if you're watching a documentary about, like, I don't know, Sandy Hook was one of our first episodes.
I followed you, or I followed your advice, and I started watching. Started watching, we fucking blew through it in like 3 nights. Mindhunter.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then, of course, my YouTube feed gave me nothing but Mindhunters.
Ed Kemper stuff and all. So,
let me tell you something, Tom. Have you ever cut off a woman's head and fucked her neck whole?
Like, that guy is demented.
He fair nailed it.
Yeah. Did you watch the real interviews?
That's what I mean. He nailed it. He had a bit more size, all right. Like, but it was. But I mean, fucking nailed him. Like, with his. But the amount of fucking ones I clicked on, and it was just Ed Kemper was, and you're like, thank you, Stephen Hawkins, but I'd sooner listen to. But it's the tutorials that kill me, because you'll get some Indian lad who's nerdy as fucking right. Just get Jesus Christ.
And somebody else wrote subtitles that are correct or whatever, and you're like, oh.
And the thing is, you won't realise until you're like 7 minutes in. You're like, for fuck's sake, that's 7 minutes. I could have made a cup of tea, or whatever.
There's a lot of stuff that I'm looking up that does have like one Indian lad somewhere in Bangalore like going like, I bought this thing online and I figured out how to use it, and he doesn't really know how to use it, and he doesn't really know how to talk English, so he's debilitated on both sides. But a lot of these things like that I'm looking up, how to whatever blah blah blah, in the last little while, because I've gone down drilled so deep into how to do stuff, I'm coming up with this idea going, I'd love to be able to blah blah blah. And then I'm finding that nobody has ever done that before. Or if they have, they've like, I worked my bollocks off to know how to do that thing.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to make a YouTube video about it and let everybody know the secret. So I'm going to have to like mill through and figure that shit out myself.
I get you, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's telling you how to do the really hard stuff. Like, everything that I did, like, I just graduated from college, first class honours, got a degree there recently, after being away from college for like 15 years. I smoked hash for my entire college career and then just like tapped out after the 3rd year and went, fuck it, I've done enough. I never got my qualification.
Right.
So last year, like, I applied 2-3 years in a row and eventually got asked back into the course.
Yeah.
And I started last September and I graduated there just in November 2017.
That's class.
Yeah, like,
well done.
You have to legitimise yourself. But everything that I learned in that course, pretty much you could learn on the internet.
Right.
Like pretty much, if you knew what you were looking for.
Yeah.
But it's just these people collate all that information
But that's kind of the good thing.
hand it to you and go, this is what you need to know.
I kind of half think that college isn't... The point of college, I think a lot of the time, because I did civil engineering, but a lot of the time, well, your man had actually a great thing that can be used for life. It was probably the thing that stuck with me the most. We had a very dreary lecture, but he'd written on the board for our very first day was maximum results with minimum effort.
Yeah.
Don't be fucking around if you can get straight to the point.
That's the matter of life. Like, that's how life should be lived.
But
right?
talking with other people that did loads of stuff, they were going, "Jesus, you know what?" What I kind of came to the conclusion was that college might just be really good at teaching you that you can go and find stuff. You know what I mean? Because I mean, you go in at 18, you leave at 22 typically, and what it'll normally teach you is like you can go and find out what you need to find out. This will just give you the leg in the door.
It's to bring you, I think, from a child into an adult in a constructive and directed environment. I was watching all these videos, you know, I'm looking up stuff. The last couple of episodes we've done one on the Mormons, we've done one on the Heaven's Gate cult, and I've been getting deep into like cult mentality and how people can be indoctrinated and how people can be controlled, and really it's fucking easy, man. We're just like, you know, gooey computers. Really, like there's ways that you can hack people's mind, and if you look at neuro-linguistic programming or hypnosis or any of this, even like cognitive behavioral therapy and stuff like that, like the way our minds are constructed and the way our bodies work, it's all on routine and regimen, and it's all on like repetition, and you know, all of these different types of tools that hypnotists and stuff use. So when you're talking about school and how primary school teaches you to sit down and shut up, and then high school or secondary school teaches you to just shut up and listen and then regurgitate, and then you go into college and it teaches you how to forget everything you've ever learned and try something else, but still in a controlled environment, and then shits you out at 22 with some kind of a weird, like a binary opinion of how society should be, which is why I think a lot of people in colleges now are coming across this thing of like, oh, I can think for myself, okay, what's the maddest fucking shit I can come up with, because I want to rebel against being told to sit down and shut up for 18 years. So now you have all these people in colleges in America and even in Ireland where they're going like, okay, we were told in primary school that it's like a man and a woman. Now let's make 150 different types of genders, because it's like a total opposite end of the scale. Or they're allowed to think for themselves, or they're being simultaneously told you are your own, you know, the captain of your own ship. But also, here's a load of stuff to facilitate your journey. And the stuff that they're being given is being given by like a set of academics who are kind of like inculcated into their own survival. They support each other's hypothesis. They support each other's.
That's what I mean. Is I don't think anything changes. In that, okay, so you might be culty in one way. Let's get, and all of a sudden we go all anti-religion. But have you seen the religious level people have go to say that they're anti-religion?
It's like another religion. Being an atheist is now a new religion.
I used to do I did a bit, I remember, and I fucking rankled with a few of the trendy gang, like, where I basically, I drew an analogy around atheism as being, they're staunch and fair play to you. Like you study, you know, and it was all about the book of atheism. But the more you look into
that's
it,
just
like,
their Bible.
Those students you're talking about, like, I remember I did a debate with the biggest pack of cunts. It wasn't a debate at all. All it was these. It was lads who were maybe 19 who had
the cravat firing squad, right?
They ferocious. It was in trainers for winners, like
doing the debate society, was it?
Oh my!
I'd love to do that. They ask comedians in every year annually, right? They come in.
It's not a debate. It's just these lads have written out. Do you remember that bit in Good Will Hunting where your man's regurgitating at the bar? Like, that's all these lads are doing. You're like, of course, because you're only 19. What did you know at 19? You're pulling the fucking wire off yourself.
But that's the difference between a debate and a dialectic.
A
lot of these people who debate, they want to debate you, and they go bah 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 and say their thing.
But that's all it's going to be for a 19-year-old typically.
I think so.
I mean, like, I know I'm not.
You're only thinking other people's thoughts.
That's all. Like, I mean, you've only just left school. You're going in, and all of a sudden now you're wearing a pair of corduroy trousers to college. Like, and you think, I know it all.
Regurgitating Carl Jung and saying, like, as if you made it up that morning, like I woke up and went, oh, determinism, what's that? You know, like these people who are saying those things as if they're gospel truths haven't looked at the other side, because the other side is very uncomfortable.
Well, this is the thing. It was to be a comedy debate, and this lad had decided to have a go at me for being in a TV show called Nemo and Ivor, like they were.
Oh, a class division or something.
Class division, and that
taking advantage of lower class people or whatever.
And I said,
which is a fair point.
But I said, do you know who even I am? And he read a bio. I said, man, that's a fucking bio to get people to buy tickets to come see me in a show. I said, you have no idea. If you're going to attack me...
Fake news, Tom. It's fake news.
China.
That guy, China, where did he get his information, huh?
And this is the thing. He hadn't looked into me at all. But he was attacking me personally for playing a character.
Well, that's a logical fallacy of ad hominem. Like, that's these kids, they labour under these misapprehensions. And I was saying, these kids, Tom, today... But, like... and I do suffer from some of those things, and I'm learning all the time.
Yeah.
But as I say on the show, those conspiracy guys, we're all about conspiracies. We're guys. We're those. I don't know what the rest of that is. But like in the fact that we're looking at not just like a commoner garden, 9/11, JFK conspiracies. It's like you look at society.
Which are two very good episodes.
Very good. Very old, but good. We look at societal issues. Or I take like our I always use it as an example because it's probably the finest example of how the show works. Like we take Marilyn Monroe, and a lot of people will be like, oh, conspiracy guys, oh, Marilyn Monroe, I bet you that's about when the mafia poured a load of drugs up her arse and killed her. But it's not. It's about the show. The whole episode is about her early life, her sexual abuse as a young girl, the psychological effects that has on a person and on Marilyn. Went through the whole gamut of all that stuff. Then talked about her coming up in Hollywood, moving to California, the kind of stuff that she was up against in the film industry. Then creating her own production company, trying to battle with addiction, battle with bad relationships like Joe DiMaggio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was the love of her life, and I had to break up. And we talked about like the harsh pressures that are put on like public couples, and we talked about like Kim and Kanye and all this kind of stuff. And it's not just about Marilyn Monroe getting offed because she fucked Bobby Kennedy and Jack Kennedy and get a load of drugs poured up her arse in a bedroom by the mafia and died like with swollen feet. It wasn't. That's not what her life should be reduced to.
Yeah, I get you.
And that's how I look at it.
Why do people do that?
Because it's easy, and because it's a story. People love stories, Tom.
They do, but
and they want the story.
They don't want to hear your full explanation of it, because people don't want to go, I don't know about that, tell me more about it. Because for some reason nowadays, everybody thinks they're fucking right and know everything about every scenario.
Why do you think all the Dublin people are saying, hey, what's the story? Because they want to know the story. Because knowing the story means that you know it.
Knowledge is power, scientia est potentia.
It's the knowledge. They just want to know what's the story with that thing? What do you mean? Like, why is that thing here? I need to know why that is, or else I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, what's the story? Is a great podcast with Danny Murray and Nero, but also it's a thing that people need to know. Like, if you went to all the best ads over the last like 10 years on TV have had a story. Do you know?
Yeah.
The Michelle, Papa, or the Nescafe ads. That was like a massive story arc over like 5 years.
Yeah.
Your man is coming over and he's all like, "Are you divorced from your husband?" "Yes." "No, but I'll have this coffee and I'll flash him my tits." Like for years that was happening.
Yeah.
And then eventually like they touched hands and it was on the news. It's like the people from the Nescafe ad touched hands, and Nescafe were pulling the Mickeys off themselves with delight.
Yeah.
Because it worked. Because it was a story.
Yes.
Story is everything. And that's what I want to do in my podcast, is tell the story of these conspiracies. Not just rattle off like that cunt at the fucking debate that just looked up your bio, presumed a load of stuff about you. Like, countryman, did a thing, has some stuff, he's not poor, so that means that he's taking advantage of a lower class and trying to make money off an image that is not of his own. Like, do you have to be black to talk about black people? Do you have to be gay to talk about gay people? That is the most like insular and intersectional bullshit modern college thought of all, because that means that only gay people can talk about gay people, or only black people can talk about black people, and that means that they're getting no opinion from an outside source, so they just end up being an echo chamber of their own fallacies and their own bullshit.
Would he have gone after Tom Vaughan Lawler the same way because he played gangster in fucking Love Hate?
Well, that's an actor's job, like, what the fuck, man?
And I says, well, you know nothing about me. I said, I'm from a fucking blue collar fucking country background. I said,
if you had a collar at all.
If we look at
there you go.
A ring of dirt is all I had around my neck, yeah.
But I just think that, like, how people are viewing, like, news, like, basically I feel like the guy that bought into Bitcoin in, like, 2010.
Yeah.
Of conspiracies.
Oh, yes.
Like, the Bitcoin of conspiracies, like, I've been in it since 99, 2000. You know, I was into maybe even earlier, like 95, 96.
Right.
Watching the X-Files, like getting into UFOs, like all my projects for Project Stay at school. You know the way, I don't know if any listeners know, like, you know, when you're in school, you have a project stay and everyone makes a project, and you go into the general purpose room and you set up your little stall, and it's all like, I grew mold and a mushroom, or, you know, some lads will be like, I'm fucking real smart, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a project on PlayStation, and that means I get to bring the PlayStation into school and just play PlayStation all day. You're like, you smart cunt. So mine was always on like UFOs or, you know, a Bigfoot or X-Files and all that shit. And 9/11 happened, and I was in the middle of starting to smoke weed every day, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is something I can scratch my brain with. And I started going deep and deep and deep. Now, conspiracies are the fucking headline news every day. Fake news, conspiracy theory, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan. These are the most famous people in their field. Like you're talking about, like Tucker Carlson and all these guys are coming out on the right and saying, like Tommy Lahren and Tucker Carlson, all these guys coming out on the right going, yeah, this is the thing about, and then on the other side you have all the late night hosts like Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel and all these guys fighting against, and it's all like fake news, media analysis. You think now the way the environment is gone, that it was never like that before. It has always been like that. Yeah. And people forget what it was. It's like, I put it to you this way. Do you know when you're well, you can't remember what it's like to have a cold?
Yes.
When you have the flu, you cannot remember what it's like to feel well.
Yeah.
That's what we're living in now, but of conspiracy theories and fake news.
It's unreal.
Because
the thing is, like, the earliest thoughts of, because I remember I was always fascinated with secret societies. Like, remember that movie, The Skulls?
Same.
Always fascinated. It was like, why would you be in that? And I remember meeting a lad who was
Skull and Bones,
who he gave a year in the Masons, and then he wasn't for him. More so because it was more like a B&I meeting. These days it's like, I have an accountancy firm, we'll look after all you guys, and they all give a talk. Because what I was trying to do was trying to get fucking comedy gigs, because inside there, like, but he was going,
it's like a businessman's club.
That's what it is.
And it's not clandestine.
And it's not raging.
We have an episode on the Freemasons. Yeah, I wanted to go paddling.
Give him a good paddling.
You pull your pants down, and that tattoo will get you to be. Tom is our leader now.
Go in the cupboard for 45 seconds.
What are you talking about? I was bit by a goat in the arse. It's the prophecy. But no, like the Freemasons. We did an episode on the Freemasons, like, and there's a lot of talk about like Illuminati and Freemasons and all this kind of stuff. And I like, it's great to tell the story, but like the Illuminati is completely misrepresented. Freemasons are completely misrepresented. Fake news. And like, what I want to do is
draw the eye, do you think, more than anything?
A lot of the time with conspiracy theories is to draw the eye away from something else.
That's what I mean,
or to hide in plain sight, to go like, they're a clandestine.
It's the Chinese, I'm telling you.
Baby's blood drinking.
I can start all your conspiracy shows. It's the Chinese.
I would imagine so. And you know what? They speak a different language. They have squiggly writing. None of us can ever understand it. They literally could be doing any fucking thing, and none of us have a clue.
Sneaking in cheap honey. I was watching a program about honey.
I seen that.
Rotten. Yeah.
Very, very good.
I'm into the garlic episode now. Don't get me started on what they're up to.
We had our own garlic man here as well, sneaking him in as apples and paying tax on his apples. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
But like, as far as like conspiracies and my opinions, like why I wanted to start the podcast was because I wanted to tell the stories of these things. I wanted to exercise my critical thinking, and I also wanted to not work in a fucking phone shop anymore. So when I started it, my dream,
that phone shop was full throttle. You started selling yourself out, but fuck me,
it was always like,
I've been at shopping centre too. Jesus, it would not be good for the soul.
It's like that shopping centre is like an infected polyp on the anus of Dublin. Like, it's just not great.
It was like, did The Walking Dead just leave a camera in there?
They could do.
Did they just leave
I felt like I was a social worker some days. Just like people coming in going, come here, listen, my Martha loves me.
It was the brightness in your face. We walked into you one day. It was like,
finally, somebody who's not going to...
God, who may not knife me. Yeah, great.
But they come in and be like, I lost my phone away, I tell you. I got up this morning and I didn't get a good sleep. And it goes from there, and you're like, and I had cornflakes and the milk was left out, so it wasn't cold. It's not the way I like it. I left them in too long, so now they're all soggy, and all the way they get soggy, I like them crunchy. Anyway, I turned on the kettle, and it's that level of detail to give you this thing to go like, I want my SIM card back, and I go, have you got your PIN number? No. But they learn these tricks.
There's
of
an
the
intranet.
mind.
There is a fucking intranet.
A verbal intranet. Yeah.
The travelling community have the very same thing. People who are...
The gammon.
It's an intranet.
Yeah.
And it goes, what you need to do is cut it. Because you'll be looking going, how the fuck is she? She's 7 kids and she's driving a fucking Merc. And nobody in the house works. Do you know, like these... No, that's an extreme thing. But what I'm saying is like, that intranet... I mean, that in itself, like...
Sure. Well, they say, go in and say this.
Yeah.
And if you do this... But it's not just that. It's like there was little social engineering tricks that they learned in there. Mm-hmm. And, you get caught once. And you're like, okay. And then you get caught twice. But I'd only get caught twice to be aware to watch how I'm getting caught. Yeah. And then they'd be like,
I got caught.
Okay,
Do you know what? I'll get caught one more time just to see how they did it.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So the £50 trick. Where they give you the £50 and then they ask you back, and then they give you 2 tenors and they go, oh no, give me the 2 tenors back, and then they give you the 20, the 20, the 10, and then say swap that for a 50, and then go, no, give me the 50 back after giving you 2 tenors. So they make €30 or €80 depending on how many times you do it.
Yeah.
So it's like the social engineer, like change that. So they have a ball of money. So I got caught with that. So the second time I did it much slower to find out exactly in what order you have to do it, to just confuse the cashier. And at the time when I was doing it slow, I found out like the peak moment, because he was going like, come on, because you have to do that moment quickly so the person doesn't realise what's happening. But those kind of things, like how those levels of people disseminate information amongst themselves, there is that in the internet community, and it can be used nefariously, it can be used for badness.
Yeah, of course.
Usually is.
Yeah.
And the way information travels between people now is so... There's an insidious level of like one-upmanship and greed that's happening now, because everybody's out to get everything for themselves.
Was there not always that, but now it's just on a major scale?
Yeah. So you're looking at how those lads in the shopping centre communicate with each other and go, he wouldn't give me the thing, go in and say this to him. Now you can watch a YouTube tutorial on how to fucking do whatever thing you want.
Right, yeah.
And people do that all the time. So like politicians, lads that are performing these tricks, like there's a way to get out of it. Like you're looking at social engineers like Logan Paul. I don't know if you know about him. Logan Paul is like using skirting the
this is the cunt who had
the dead body in the video,
body
like skirting the parameters of good taste to get views, to get money, basically, right?
Yeah.
So like our community are trying to, I say our community, the conspiracy community are trying to get mainstream exposure in a positive light, which is very, very difficult.
Yeah, because trying to get away from the tinfoil hat fucking world.
Sure.
Jesus.
So we're looking at what mainstream media are doing and turning their tricks back on them.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So that the people are coming in with some fake news, or they'd have like a salacious headline to get people to watch, and then they hit you with the truth.
Yes.
And hit you with their version of the truth, let's say. So like YouTube are cutting off all of these right-wing people, because right-wing is apparently the wrong wing, ironically. And they have people who are like, anyone who's pro-Trump, anybody who is like anti-liberalism, anybody who
makes that call, do you reckon?
I think it's
who owns YouTube now?
Alphabet is the parent company, and then Google is owned by Alphabet, and Google owns YouTube. But that's the thing. I think that there's people who are learning how to do this stuff, and again through school, into college, they learn how the world works, but they're only being regurgitating information. They're being given a set of information. Well, that's how the world works, and then they take that and then they move into jobs like in YouTube, and they go, well, society isn't working according to the books that I learned in school. Sit down and shut the fuck up, secondary school.
Yeah.
So they start making these decisions. Like there was a sociologist and a scientist professor in Toronto University, Jordan B. Peterson, and he's a very smart man.
He was on Joe Rogan, I think, was he? Yeah.
Some of the stuff he says is a little bit out there, If you were a little bit kind of liberal, you might, your butthole might pucker up a small bit at some of the stuff he says. But none of it is false. I mean, it's not untrue that there's a class of people who are taking advantage of like social welfare systems and medical systems. Yeah. So he talks about that, and it seems exclusionary and it seems derogatory towards those people. But if you don't talk about it, if you're not allowed to talk about it, it just festers and gets worse, like a cancer, right?
Yeah.
In any way, in anything, like if you own a business or if you're working in a work environment and there's somebody in your office and they're not pulling their weight, like the business is suffering because you're paying them money for not doing any work, and other people have had to abandon their work to catch up with the work that this cunt is not doing. So it's just all of that whole stuff together that he's talking about. Economics, politics, sociology, sexual identity, like all these things. He had his whole channel switched off by YouTube.
Mother of Jesus.
Just one day, arbitrarily, just gone, switched off. And he had millions of followers, and his email was even switched off.
What?
Yeah, they closed his whole Google account because he violated terms of service.
Jeez, we thought we'd a dose between GoDaddy and whatchamacallit from my website.
Trying to get that back was a nightmare for him. So he went to the court of public opinion and went, do you think YouTube should have been able to do this?
Yeah.
And everybody got their fucking back up against YouTube. They're like, hey man, what the fuck is going on? Jordan Peterson was like, I have emails in there that are to do with my business, my finances.
Yeah.
I have contacts in there that you'll never find ever again. Like, you have to give me that back. Whatever about the YouTube channel. And then people started looking and going, well, there's no violation of the community guidelines. There's nothing in it that's any like racist or homophobic or any kind of hate speech. None of that stuff is in there. Why was that switched off? And it transpired that it was just one cunt who just got a hair up his arse because he was watching the videos and just went, this violates terms of service, click, you're gone.
Jesus.
But now Jordan Peterson was getting a lot of traction at the time on YouTube on other people's channels, and they started like switching off all these other videos.
Right.
So they're using Chomsky's 5 filters.
Yeah.
And just basically going, okay, we're going to remove your monetization possibilities here. Like, we're going to take away your opportunity to make money on your information through our platform because we are a private company and we can decide not to do that. Twitter does exactly the same thing. And they've even been caught recently by Project Veritas in an interview in a cafe saying, yeah, we actually do that, and we have stuff coming down the line that's built into the algorithm of Twitter. That means that we're just not going to show anything that says Trump on it. We're just going to like bury all the stuff that has right-wing connotations, and we're after hiring on like 10,000 people to manually go through all of that stuff. Like, you're saying who decides to block all that information? Loads of people. That's the mad thing. That there's loads of people that cooperate with a certain political ideology that work in private companies which are fully legally entitled to do whatever they want with whatever information is on their platform, and they're just switching that message off.
So nothing changes. The world over, centuries over, nothing changes.
With social media becoming such a ubiquitous force, that like YouTube now is the video website.
Yeah.
Twitter is like
it's a verb now.
And Facebook is like Twitter and Facebook are the social media websites. So should they still operate under the rules of a private company, or should they be regulated under some kind of a fairness kind of doctrine or a fairness agenda?
Almost like a public sector.
Yeah, but then you see you're getting into that kind of libertarian free will kind of thing, that you're not allowed to take anybody's free will away from them. So Facebook are censoring stuff, Twitter are censoring stuff, YouTube are censoring stuff, but only stuff that's against the ethos of the people that work there, who were brought up in these colleges that are more liberal and more left-leaning. So how should they be allowed to inflict their political opinions on how private industry works? Like, our channel got hit a couple of times there.
That's what I was going to ask.
Over the last while. Yeah, we got done for a 9/11 episode and a Sandy Hook episode that got dinged. And we were told we violated service, and they took both of those videos down. They've since been put back up because fuck that shit. And we were, as a punishment, we were forbidden from streaming, which is a big part of the business model I have on Patreon. We were forbidden from streaming on YouTube for 90 days as a punishment. Kind of get back in your car, sit down and shut the fuck up kind of thing. And I had 2 community guideline strikes. If I had got 3, the channel would have been switched off, and I would have had to appeal and all that stuff. Would have lost all my videos, had lost access to everything. And it does that. It does that. Like, that's what they do to people that they don't like. And there's a lot of people been switched off.
And I suppose you can't argue with them if they're a private company.
That's it, man. But at the same time, it's not like clear and unbiased. Because
Yeah,
there is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the other side of the political spectrum that's deemed to be socially acceptable, and they allow that to happen. They allow those messages to disseminate out through the platform, but they don't let stuff like Stephen Molyneux or Paul Joseph Watson, or they can't say what they want. So there's been this massive upsurge in the last 6 months or a year since the popularity of conspiracy, like Bitcoin, has absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And there's these other video platforms like BitChute or Minds.com or Gab.ai. Like, there's an alternative to Twitter where there's no censorship. There's an alternative to Reddit where there's no censorship. There's an alternative to YouTube where there's no censorship. And to be fair to both sides, because there's no censorship, there is a little bit of hate speech going on there. There is a little bit of fucking cunts going in there going, black fellas, like, you know.
Yeah.
And you're going to get that everywhere. But I don't think they were as vocal on Twitter because they knew they'd get spanked.
Yes, yeah.
So with the ability to say whatever the fuck you want without any quarter, I think they're going way more extreme. But it's probably like 14-year-old kids like we used to do.
That's what I mean. Like,
and the Yahoo chat rooms just typing Jews in 72 size font and just go Jews, just for the crack, because you knew it was offensive and you just wanted to offend for the laugh.
Like, what are people doing with their day if that's what
exactly.
that's what they're vexed about? Like, going, what? You mean I can't?
Yeah.
You know, whatever about Twitter. I mean, you're just shouting at the sky. But I mean, there's YouTube would kind of irk me a small bit because obviously it's a fucking video, and you put time and effort into it. Like, you know what I mean? Where you're going, you rotten bastards.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give especially you're trying to give an objective, an open book. You're going, well, lads, look, I'm not leaning either way. I'm just putting this up there, and they're going.
It seems the only lads that survive that do it both sides are the lads that are already big. If you're small and you're trying to grow on YouTube and you have that political message, good night. It's over for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna have to I'm rethinking my strategy on how to disseminate video content and stuff like that. So we're using BitChute at the moment, which is it's using a peer-to-peer. It's not blockchain, but it's peer-to-peer BitTorrent format.
Right.
So it's hosted on a server, and the videos are delivered to you using that peer-to-peer technology.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like YouTube, it uploads the same way, you put all the tags on it, it's done the same way. The community is really small. Like, there's like 1 billion people on YouTube. So if you get a popular video, that's a lot of people watching.
Yeah.
And I think that power has kind of gone to their heads.
Of course it has.
And their public policy has been...
You turn up to work in a Lamborghini, shit's going to go to your head, no matter how intelligent of a person.
But it's not even the Lamborghini lads, Tom. It's the lads that are working on the... There's people hired to manually go through videos to look at content of like more people with 100,000 followers and up. Right? So when you get 100,000 followers, they send you a little silver plaque in a framed glass case, and they go, well done, you're a good creator, keep going. But they also have some cunt that's going to look through your videos, and they even have bots that when you put something up on YouTube, it'll scan through the voice, and you can have a transcript of the stuff, and it looks for keywords in that voice transcription that go against the policies that they and the content that they want to have on their platform.
Right.
So if you're saying like words like faggot in your video, they look at that thing and go, faggot, okay, he said faggot, flagged, and then you go in and you check that video and
what if you're making Scottish haggis?
So you're looking in what context that is supposed to be in, and they look at the thing and they click it off. But what happened with a lot of people, and say like Boogie2988, do you know that big massive fat dude with the computer games? Like, he had a load of his videos all taken down because he was talking about depression and suicide. And suicide is a word that's flagged, so you're not allowed to say that. It is 1984. It is thought police. It is speech policing. It's mad. And obviously, you know what, lads going on fucking abusing people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But to take away from common discourse is... It's kind of like,
it's fucking backwards.
Dictatorial.
It's what it is.
It's unfair. And I like conspiracies in my mind is not really like, let's look at, like, it used to be like us against the government. It used to be, the man is coming down, the G-men in the black suits. Now it's more critical thinking. I see it from my point of view.
Oh yeah.
I want to think critically. I want to be able to take in all the information. I want to be able to look at everything from both sides and decide for myself, and reserve the right to be wrong and be proved wrong by someone who knows more than me. Because I'm not coming out and saying I'm an expert. I'm saying I've looked at all this stuff and it's kind of mental and I'm a bit funny. And if you want to know this stuff and you don't want to be depressed in a weird computer voice on YouTube type of way, come and listen to my show, and I'll give it to you in a friendly format.
That's what I was saying. You just said just there. You go, I don't mind if I'm wrong.
No, I don't.
But the amount of people that fucking do.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that just a lack of confidence in themselves? Because if anything, doing stand-up comedy has made me very self-critical. Where I go, I'm a tit cunt for that.
I think you would have been self-critical before you. That's the reason you started comedy.
Maybe, yeah. But
because you're looking at everything and noticing everything and analysing everthing,
and
then verbalising it on stage.
But the amount of people that you see, especially online, you go, oh, you just gave an opinion on something. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about there. Like,
there's a lot of that.
But there seems to be, I suppose there's no slap in the wrist for it. If you opened your mouth once upon a time, you go, would you shut up to fuck? You have to clue what you're talking about.
Well, that's the old kind of why should we get rid of school bullies type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, school bullies hardened a few people that were a bit too soft and softened the people that were a bit too hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This it's back to that Darwinism thing and the misnomer of survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
It's not the fittest that survive, it's the ones that are able to adapt the best.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And if you're in a place where you don't need to adapt, you're going to go extinct.
Yeah.
Like you and your kind. And there's a lot of people that are just not adapting, not changing. And again, back to the dialectic versus debate, they pick their side of the argument. Mm-hmm. They find a load of people who agree with them.
Well, he was in a comfortable environment in Trinidad. Like, so.
They solidify their argument by getting support from those people, and then they just sit back and they let other people's arguments or logic or reason or any other kind of commentary on their thing just bounce off them.
Yeah.
And it just seems...
Well, it's the Emperor's New Clothes all over again, isn't it?
It's an echo chamber of their own shite. Sitting in a glass room full of your own farts. Like, that's what's happening for a lot of people. And there's even stats, like I did my thesis on fake news, and a whole big chunk of it was the echo chamber. And there's like 85% of people on Twitter are in an echo chamber of almost entirely agreeable followers and followees.
Yeah.
Where they only follow people that they agree with, and they're only followed by people that agree with them.
There you
so
go.
They're in this whole thing, and they have a view of the world that's like, there's nothing else out there.
And it'd be like, you're deadly, like, there's nothing more dangerous than a thick cunt who doesn't know he's a thick cunt. And you're not going to be finding out. But that's always been the way.
Yeah.
And if somebody's continues, if you're all patting each other on the back going, we're fucking class.
Yeah,
it's deadly dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, because you never...
That was the Nazis. They were all going, we're the best. Aren't we the best hands? Oh yeah, we're the best, lads. This is great. At least we're not Jews, right? Yeah, fuck them. Like, they were the best, and no one told them any different. In fact, they were being supported and told that they were the best.
I suppose, yeah.
That they were told they were the chosen people. This is why people start religions and cults, Tom. This is why people get into groups and people end up having like 1 million followers, because they're being promoted by a concept that they are the chosen one, they are special.
Like Conor McGregor.
Back again to stories. Why do you think the story of Jesus is told and retold? The story of Muhammad is told and retold. Hiram Abiff, or Dionysus, or Hercules, or any of these lads, like, they come down and they're half gods and half men, and their destiny is chosen, and it's all laid out in front of you. All you have to do is like reach out and grab your golden fleece or grab your golden chalice or whatever. Like, everybody wants to be that. We're all made in God's image. We all have to be that thing.
Yeah.
So when a cult member comes and says to you, do you remember all those stories that are just out in the ether, out in the zeitgeist, where there's like a chosen one and blah blah blah, and say, you are that chosen one, Tom.
Yeah.
And we're all going to follow you. Will you lead us? How could you say no to that?
Of course you would.
With a load of people ready to fucking polish your rod and make you breakfast, fucking wipe your hole for you. Like, how would you not want to be a cult leader? How would you not want to be in a cult where you're like, I'm happy, I'm exactly where I need to be, I'm comfortable, I know exactly what my future is going to be, there's no indecision, there's no anxiety. Like, that's a really comfortable place to be.
Absolutely.
Even if from the outside world you look mental because you're dressed in like a bright orange jumpsuit.
Your ego's being fed everywhere around
that's
you.
it. Like, it's ego, and it's all this comfort and ego. And people want to be able to be told you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, you're sure, you're comfortable, everything you know will never change, and everything is grand. Whereas change is inevitable, evolution is necessary, and people who box themselves off in their own opinions and don't listen or change to anybody else, they're going to end up wilting away and dying.
I kind of like being wrong in a lot of places, because I think it makes me it hardens my nose then. It's like, alright,
grow,
I better find out how to fucking do that right.
Yeah.
Because I there'll be often nights like where I remember reading about Tom Crean. Do you remember Tom Crean, the explorer?
I don't remember.
Irish explorer.
He went to the South Pole or something, did he?
Went both South and North Pole. Scott, basically, had he been born into a privileged family, he would have been the Shackleton. Do you know what I mean? He would have been. But
Edmund Hillary.
This guy he was built different than normal humans. He could survive cold and all the rest. But they were racing against this Swedish guy, this himself in Scott, this one time. And your man just hardened himself, even though he was Swedish or Finnish, he was a tough cunt already, and he had already, like, his plan was to go out with 42 dogs and come back. That was more dogs than he needed to drag him.
Oh, because he was going to eat half the dogs.
Yeah, he only needed fucking 12 to come home.
Yeah.
But he also, for 6 months prior to going on these expeditions, he'd leave the window open at night and
conditioning,
no blanket, to harden himself.
Yeah.
The discomfort was fucking great.
But again, it goes back to, like, you're a man who's fit.
Yeah,
you knowing exactly what it's like to be at peak physical fitness.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen overnight. That's a regimented, habitual set of actions that a human takes to change their thought patterns, to change their body movements. Like bodybuilders eat at the exact same time every day and they eat the exact same things. You have to regulate your body to do that stuff, but your mind has to be regulated too.
Absolutely, yeah. But that's the thing. I think sometimes, if you're kind of let off the leash, because I don't think we've evolved fast enough for what people think they're allowed to do. Like, not that I'm saying we need to be under a dictatorship, but there's sometimes some people need a bit of corralling.
What do you think about, like, social media and that, with that point in mind, like social media and everybody being connected and also being disparate? It's something that I'm struggling. I have these, like, big, huge ideas that I'll end up taking on as a kind of a project inside of a show. Like, I'll use a show to look at this thought through the prism of that subject matter, which is a lot easier to do than just taking it as a general philosophical kind of an argument or whatever. So I'm struggling with this thing at the moment that's the personality, like human personalities now are split between the physical walking around everyday Tom and Gordo and this abstract version of your personality or your identity, basically. An avatar that lives online that people can interfere with without your knowledge or without your consent. They can look at pictures of you without you showing them to them. They can communicate with you and you don't have to be there. And I think it's like putting everybody's mind into the cloud and then nobody's mind in the cloud, or nobody's looking out for you particularly, whereas your personal safety in your personal privacy and your personal interest when you're walking around in the street. Like, if you don't want anyone to hear what you're saying, you can whisper, but if you write something on Twitter, every cunt can see it forever.
Hence why Natasha doesn't do Facebook. She's like,
what's the point?
I would have been wasting my time putting. Now I do it because
you're a professional personality.
So but I only put up silly shit. Like, you'll never see me going, oh jeez, another day of sickness, guys.
You're going to get a lump checked at the doctors. You're not going to put that up on YouTube to look for views. But there's a lot of people that do that, like the Logan Pauls, who will go, this is great content. It's simple. And it goes down to what's that thing called where they all beg for people to not press a button and they sing and do that shit. What's it called?
Oh, Jesus.
The show.
What the fuck is it? I know,
America's Got Talent. Britain's Got Talent, or the X Factor or something like that. My brain wouldn't even allow me to think that. Did you hear that?
Do you know where I went to? I went to Black Mirror.
Oh my God! The 15 million points or 15 million credits. So in X Factor or whatever, the ones that win come out and go. They come out and go, when I was young, I used to go around singing in the house, and my granny used to say, you'd be a famous singer someday, Joel. You'd be a really good singer. My granny died last year, so I got in the queue. I got in the queue in the X Factor, and now I'm going to sing a song. You ready? I had a dream. Like, and he ends up going through because he has a great story about his granny exploding one day in Tesco's. Like, how can that be allowed to happen in a world that doesn't have social media or that doesn't have everybody looking at everybody? Like, they're willing to take advantage of one of possibly the worst situations in a young person's life, was when, like, a parent or a grandparent dies, and you're like, it's your first dalliance with death if you've never had a pet, and it's emotionally traumatic.
But it's on a larger
scale. But they're willing to fucking put that out and sell it.
But it's on a larger scale. Here's the thing, in your heart and soul, especially something in stand-up comedy, if you have something fucking gammy wrong with you, it makes people in the audience feel better about themselves. Like,
and it's your niche, maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I know that guy Aidan Green. Like, he's a lovely fella, but his whole thing is about his
stammer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And also,
Yeah.
you have to remember, there's a lot of England, an awful lot of the UK especially, lives in abject poverty. Same as America. Tons of them living. So to see this fucking Conor McGregor moment where people are looking going, oh, Jesus Christ, I could be that. And that's like me, my granny died.
Yeah.
Well, I know somebody's granny. Well, no. I mean, I've never known my granny, but I definitely can think about that scenario. And
I can kill my granny. And then the case will never be solved, and that's even more emotionally weight.
So
I think, maybe do you think, right, this is just a thought I had now after mentioning Aidan. So there's a lot of people, like Davy Riley did something about his body dysmorphia. Aidan talks about his stammer. There's, like, the girls are talking about, like, you know,
hardship
about being a woman, and, you know, this kind of stuff. Do you think that, like, comedy is a guard against that, the free thought policing that people are going through online, where you're not allowed talking about being gay, you're not allowed to talk about being black, you're not allowed to talk about having body dysmorphia or sexual abuse or all these kind of things that are impolite for normal society, that comedians go, okay, I have this thing with me that's personal, and here are my experiences of it. Twofold, you're going to the people who do have that similar thing, it's okay, come on, let's laugh about it. And to everybody else to go, it's a thing, and you might know somebody with it, and knowing about it might make them less comfortable, but they're more comfortable with sharing it with you.
Well, I think you're looking at the very righteous way.
Yeah.
You're looking at it from
that's what I'm saying. I'm playing both sides, you see.
The other side of it, in my opinion, is
capitalism,
but also
niche
like,
marketing.
People want a comedian to be self-deprecating.
Yeah.
And they don't know they want that. But when they're sitting in an audience, they don't want to. Like, I can never talk about the job I had driving a Ferrari, teaching people how to drive Ferraris. Can't talk about it.
Until you're really, really rich and famous. And then you can talk about it because you're at that level.
Exactly. But right now, I can't talk. Yeah, I used to teach people how to drive Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Because you can see people that are like, I can't relate to this. This cunt.
I can just imagine you inside in the Ferrari, and it's like, so Tom, how do you drive this thing? I just want to drive real fast up the street. Like, it's some Al Pacino shit.
It was just bizarre. Yeah.
Who am I?
But some of the funniest stories I have from it. But you can't. I've tried them, and you can see I need a long form show to be able to get it, sneak them in, because.
But you always have to justify that behaviour to the audience.
You have to, because they're looking at me and you're going, I can't see anything physically totally wrong with this cunt, other than the fact that you know what I mean. And they're
why is it set up that you can't talk about that if you don't have that experience of life? That's so unfair.
That's what
to everybody else's thinking. Like, you're only allowed to talk about something if you've had that personal experience. What about, like, relaying other people's personal experience through the sphere of your own experience, or your intelligence or your personality, to go like, you know what I think about that thing? I think this, and it could come from an ignorant place, or it could come from a bigoted place, or it could come from a massive revelation. Well, it's like, not everybody can be Harvey Milk. We all have to live with gay people in the world, because there are loads of gay people, and we all should know as much about them as gay people do, unless they've got something to hide, both sides, you see. And that in there is where the mould of suspicion can grow. In the grout of doubt, the doubt grout. Right? I'm just making this up now.
You need to be writing this shit.
So we're recording it, right? So there's doubt grout in between the gay community wanting everybody to know what's going on, but also want to keep their privacy and secrecy, and, you know, the quintessential kind of like clandestine. This is us and this is our community. We don't want everyone in it, but we want everyone to accept us and be totally open about everything that we do. But also, we want to keep this thing, and these are our secrets, and we do this.
Which is totally representative of a load of communities.
A load of communities, right? I'm just taking the LGBT for an example, right? So if you're talking about that, and they want to keep something for themselves, let's talk about it on a national scale. So Irish people, they love being Irish everywhere. But when people in America go, oh yeah, my grandfather is, and you're like, fuck off, you're not Irish, I'm Irish, you're not Irish, you never even had potatoes. Like, you know what red lemonade is, you can't, fuck off, right? They have this exclusivity because people want to feel exclusive. People want to feel heard and special and messianic. They want to be the chosen one, right? So if you're an Irishman in America and everyone's like, I'm a bit Irish, you're like, you're not as Irish as me, and you pull out your ginger balls, right? Like, that's the way people want to operate. So if you're in the LGBT community, that is now way more accepted than it ever was, but still is vilified in some circles. It's because the mould of doubt is growing in the doubt grout.
Yeah.
In between the tiles of, mainstream media and public opinion, there's a big line of fucking mouldy, mildewy secrecy that neither side can broach because they're not part of the community and they're not allowed to, but they can still see it and they're wondering, why is that there? And that can grow suspicion. That can grow animosity. That can grow hatred in some places.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you're not fully aware. And people, again, what's the story? Hey, what's the story with that stuff in the middle there that they're not telling us about?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because they want to fucking blah, 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 give everybody AIDS. Like, people will always go to find the story. They're not.
They're not happy to not know.
But they want to know, and they also don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to know what it's like to get fisted, unless you want to get fisted. Yeah. Most people don't want to.
Yeah, that's true.
But they still know that it's a thing. Like, nobody knows about docking.
What's docking?
Docking, putting one dick into
another
dick.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or cock fingering. Nobody wants to get cock fingered. Do you know what I mean?
Not with sharp nails.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to get cock. And some people do. But you don't want to know about it. But if somebody said to you, here, do you know what the lads do? They do cock fingering. And someone's going, ugh. I don't want to know about that. What is that? Like, it's such a binary. It's a mad, polarized opinion of how much you want to know.
Yeah.
And that's where that mildewy doubt grows in the doubt grout. And that happens to different kind of race cultures or different kind. People are going mad in the conspiracy community about Muslim immigrants in Europe and all, and multiculturalism. And we won't get onto it because we'll be here for an hour. But it's just, there's a lot of misinformation.
Of course there is.
And it's people just filling in the doubt grout with their own ignorance.
Yeah.
And then coupled with the refusal to be wrong, and then also married to the fact that they're being supported by a whole lot of other people who are just as ignorant as them, and it all comes together in a lovely muffin made of shit.
Did you see?
And you have to eat it.
Did you?
Everybody has to eat it, Tom.
Oh yeah.
Because it's there, and it's all we have to eat.
Did you by any chance see the clip from the Tommy Tiernan show?
Which one?
Where there was an imam, an Irish Muslim imam.
Came
on.
Priest, God bless him.
Yeah, priest. He came on and Tiernan, have you seen the concept of the show? It's a great idea.
Somebody comes on, he doesn't know who they're on, and he just starts from scratch. I remember when Vogue Williams comes on and goes, "Geez, you're very tall. Sit down there. Who are you? I don't know you." And everyone was roaring laughing.
Yeah,
because she was super famous.
Because what she'd been talking about, then she went straight into talking about a TV show that she's making about transsexual.
He's like, I don't care.
He was looking at her a bit. She has big hands, and she does have a husky voice.
What are them shoes? 9s, 10s? What are they?
But this man walked on.
Vogue, if you're listening, I'd love to chat with you. You're
absolutely. But he just started. He got down on his knees and said, "Allah Akbar." He just got down on the ground. And the French man took it well because, of course, Tiernan has the buffer zone of knowing. If you're coming onto the Tommy Tiernan show, you'd want to know a sense of fucking humour because
you'd also know who he is.
Yeah. But your man sits down and he was saying, we need to dispel a lot of the rumours. He says, we won't do it all here tonight. But come here to me. He says, do you know what? I was in the Middle East one time. And it's called the prayer. He said, I just thought it was one of the loveliest things I ever heard. There's so a bit of soul to it. He goes, would you give us an old bar of it? He says, I won't sing you that. He says, but I'll sing you something very similar. And he was, grand job. He says, wait, 1 second. You're not going to blow up now after this, are you? Right? The audience didn't know what to do with their audience.
Oh, that's funny.
Their audience did not know what to do. And you could, some gowl of a fella put it up went too far, Tommy. You're like, no.
Is it too far?
It's not at all, because Tiernan explained it perfectly immediately afterwards. He went, because your man went, whoa, no, your man didn't get insulted, but he was very well spoken chap, and he went, he says, you do know, he says, that's lunatics who are not a bit like us. And he says, I do know that. And he says, and I wouldn't have said that if I didn't suspect that you had a bit of a sense of humour about it. And he went, and he says, isn't that what makes it us friends, if we can take the piss?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what comedy does. It kind of bridges that gap between,
it doesn't
between polite society and between asking a question that's
you wish that was the case. It depends on the room too. You go into a room.
It depends on the people.
Yeah,
the people in the room, because the people are the cunts who don't want to hear it and who are in their own little echo chamber.
Well, you could. If I guarantee, if I stand on a stage and I say the word Muslim, you see all.
Both balls tighten.
You'd see all the little heads pop up. Yeah. Now, a lot of people will go, where's he going with this? Because we're in a comedy club. I was talking with a woman the other night, and she has this bit where she's dressed in a burqa.
Oh, lovely, yeah.
And sits in a wheelchair and does her whole set.
That is demented.
But she has a reasoning behind it, is that why aren't I allowed to wear a burqa? It's only a bit of clothes.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the finest bits of clothes I've ever worn.
It's like a hat
You know what I
or
mean?
a jacket, but for your face.
She had it okayed by Muslim friends.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, but you want to see people. She said
But why is it so overprotected? That's
and
the
then
thing,
she
you know.
said here, not so much in the UK. She
No,
did a bit in the
people don't
UK.
give a
People
fuck.
are on that, but you see, there's people have familiarity. Their next door neighbour is a gas man who's a Muslim.
They know
Here-
the tiles are stuck together. There's no doubt, Greg.
There's no doubt, Grant. Here we don't know enough about Muslims, so there's like, oh, well,
Say
we know
nothing.
that. Say nothing, keep saying it now because Jesus now.
Just the same as Americans coming over here going, hey guys, how's your Civil War going? How's any IRA attacks? You're like, it's not the 80s, sweetheart, you're grand.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's a set, like you're not going to blow up, are you? That's like the tropey jokes about that culture.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows that, you know,
There are fucking
but
extreme.
extremist Muslims who blow up. Nobody knows that it was Daddy Assad who invented fucking suicide bombers. In the early 90s. Like that was a thing that they were told, if you go and do that, you'll go to heaven and you'll be rewarded and all that stuff. People are like, yeah, brilliant, guerrilla war tactics. Like people don't understand the origins of these things, so they think that that's what it is all the time. Do you know?
That's it.
It's misinformation, it's ignorance, and they're not willing to be re-educated.
Yeah, because they're happy to live in the doubt ground.
Exactly, because the doubt ground is nice and comfy and mildewy and warm for some reason. I think the fungus is what it creates its own heat.
Well, the thing
but they
is,
love it. They're
There's,
like,
there's way too much info in
But
finding
there's
out.
other people going, yeah, you're right. It's like, I fucking knew it was right.
Yeah.
But they're all wrong together. There's a rightness in their wrongness.
Yeah.
They love being. Like, I want to go and meet these people, man. I want to go and talk to like lads in the KKK. I want to go talk to fellas who are gun nuts, who are like from like all dead hands. You know, I want to meet these people.
Because you're doing.
Why are you
What's
doing
the plan with the GoFundMe anyway?
Well, I have a GoFundMe at the moment.
Where can it be found?
GoFundMe.com/TCGTV, and it has all the details in there. Like basically everywhere we're going. Claire and I are heading off this September. Please God, fingers crossed.
That's class.
And the GoFundMe is up for 75,000, which is not a lot of money.
Nah, it's
I mean,
not,
like,
no.
you know, I could try and fake a tumour or something like that to get a few extra bob, maybe. And then in August I'd be like, I'm cured, see you lads.
Good up.
But I want to go to America to drive around through the 48 continental states. We're going to buy a little van and set up camp and go from Airbnb and motels and sleep in the van and do all that stuff.
You probably have a lot of your listeners that nearly steer you the right
this
way.
is the thing, like, so we have
Community
hundreds of emails from loads of people all coming. So, hey man, if you're over here, like, you should check out this thing, and I want to go and visit all the places that we've talked about in the show, because like over the last year and a half,
I'd like
the
to go to
show's got
Graceland
really big. I'd love to go. I'm definitely going to go and have a shite in that toilet for sure. Sir, you're not allowed in there. Oh, the door's locked. What are you going to do about it? Right, it's going to happen. I am going to do it. But I wanted to like look at that stuff, meet those people, like experience that things firsthand. Because what I'm doing now is kind of like looking through the keyhole of the world.
You're looking in over the back wall.
I am, and it's not even as wide as the back wall, Tom. It is like a keyhole or a crack in a door.
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
I don't have any vista. I don't have any real experience with the subject matter, and I'm kind of like the fallacy of you know what I was talking about earlier on, which is like regurgitating information people have told you. That's all I'm doing, and that was the remit of the podcast from the start. So those conspiracy guys wants to take freely and widely available information and run it through the bullshit meter about other conspiracies and try and put together all the information to have like a nice, broad, wide, understandable, approachable and consumable view of these conspiracy theories that seem to be totally unpalatable to normal people. They're like, I don't even want to know about that. And it's like, yeah, but did you know that blah blah blah? And they're like, what, really? That's not what I've heard before. I've heard like rumblings like,
I need to get you invited into the Henry Ford plantation. I have an inside track.
did you say the Henry Ford plantation?
Yeah.
Where they have like black lads in chains making cars?
Not so much anymore, but there is. It could actually play twofold into a few things, because they have an extremely haunted house and a very logical man. I know a very well respected logical man who hadn't really bought into these things. They put him up there because he was there for 4 nights. He was actually trying to buy the rights to a TV show at the time, and to some music as well, because it was held by the Henry Ford Foundation. He owns a ton of shit.
Right.
Fuck the cars.
I would imagine so.
Fuck the cars.
Buying up the rights and stuff just to have it.
Oh
like,
yeah, crafty.
What's it called?
Greed.
No. There's a term on it. It's like copyright. Oh, trademark
harvesting, because that's what
trademark harvesting. No, it's like a thing where
Michael Jackson did it as well.
Yeah, these guys, they buy like a chord progression.
Yeah.
And they have the rights to that chord progression, and they sue people the whole time. Copyright hostage or something. There's some term for it. But what does he own?
No, he owns it. But this particular plantation, the man was trying to, and he was sweet talking. They said, "We'll come up to the plantation. You can only get in there with an invite." And it's essentially, it is again a it's almost like the Kennedy's compound, you know. It's just,
wow.
You know, but they put him up in this house, beautiful, stunning house, and he was up in the room, and he must have rang security 4 or 5 times throughout the night, like, and security weren't having it, like, it was but like the bed moved, like he had the worst, and this fella's stoic, like he's not easily moved by stuff, like, but he said haunted out, it's yin yang. Horrendous night, like you wasn't right for a week after the poor man.
I want to do it and I don't want to do it. Do you know?
Gordo, come on.
It's like
the TCG community.
It's like an enema. You're like, oh, don't put that in me, and then when it's finished, you're like, that was great.
Yeah, you have to.
I have to.
The lads,
I have to chalk it down.
Everybody wants you to fucking do it. So you have to do it.
I've got invites to loads of spots. Like I want to do the Warren Museum in Connecticut, the Ed and Lorraine Warren and stuff like that. We also talked about Henry Ford in our marijuana episode, where
right, because he popped up in the Nazi one as well.
He popped up in a lot of fucking things.
How Henry like right? And a lot of people in Cork and in Kinsale, their houses, the beautiful houses that are now worth millions in Kinsale, and mostly as well Crosshaven, all the ones that are up on the Palisades.
Yeah.
They originally started off, Henry Ford left the pallets that the cars came over in to the Ford assembly point in Cork, because Ford, obviously his family originally from Cork. He would send over the Model Ts in a pallet, in a crate,
and you have to assemble them.
The crates would normally be shipped back to most countries without that, but in Cork he says they didn't have the boxes, and that's what their houses were built around.
No way.
Yeah, they were maybe an 8x8 fucking box, and sure, you'd stick a bed in there and a stove and an outhouse.
That's a house.
And then before you know it, then you build on another bit, and before you have another bit, and before you know it, you have a fucking house 15 years later built around it. So Henry Ford and his crates, basically the majority of the houses that would be considered palisades, it was as a direct result of him.
I wonder had the planning permission for all of that.
They didn't, or fuck.
Could you go down now and be like,
no way, this is the old Irish thing. Henry Ford could have fucking built a giant Mickey. He was employing a ton of people to put cars back together.
Would that apply for like the schoolyard rules when some lad comes over from the Ford Corporation and goes like, you know, this house is worth like £4 million? Aye, I do, aye. It's like, this is my house now. Well, I don't see your name on it. And he just pulls up a big plasterboard and it's just like
Ford
Henry Ford underneath. It's like, out you go.
Yeah, you'd never know.
I'm homeless now. Fucking Henry Ford. We was talking about Henry Ford in the episode because the reason that marijuana was like illegalized in the 30s was not because it was like a drug that was damaging people's heads.
Hemp was quality material.
Hemp, they wanted to make everything out of hemp, and they were wanting to make fuel, ethanol, from the hemp plants.
Of course.
And Henry Ford was creating these cars that had like dual engines that would run on petroleum or petrochemical based fuel and on ethanol. So when you in America we're like, hey, I'm going to get some gas. Like the gas could have been petrol gas or it could have been ethanol. It depends on your engine. And they also wanted to vilify Mexican immigrants, and Mexico was, a marijuana growing place, and it was half of America, whatever. So they're like, oh, they're coming over here and they're getting stoned on marijuana cigarettes and raping our women. Yeah. And it was all of these, like the whole thing was politically motivated. And I think now, with it being legalized, and even today they announced the state of New California. I thought that was a fucking April Fool's joke. Did you hear about that?
What?
They've announced like that they want to secede. They want to make a new state from California, and it doesn't include like San Francisco.
About a year ago they were talking about.
It came up on my feed today. I have to go and look at it at home. But apparently there's a 51st state now called New California.
It's not actually, is it?
I don't know, but that's what they're calling it now. Yeah. And it's all the greater California area.
They'd not have thought of a fucking better name than New California.
It's the don't tread on me type of
credit. Dumbledoreville or something. Like, you show one opportunity.
Yeah. Trumpland.
Fuck me.
It's all the people who were for Trump in California, and then all the Democrats are all in the Bay Area and all in LA.
I got to meet him first time. My cousins. I mean, you do you know what? You go shooting in their ranch.
Who's?
North Florida. My cousins, right on the Alabama border.
Brilliant.
I'll send you straight to them.
If they're anything like the last family that I met, they're fucking wild bastards, I'd say.
Which ones did you mean? Oh,
Right down to the
yeah. These have even more guns.
Love it.
They have a 300-acre ranch purely for hunting.
Wow.
They don't farm.
Well, I'm doing it. That's the thing. I'm doing a lot of these episodes. So I have one on gun control. So we're talking about like Second Amendment rights.
But they have in their local town of Niceville. It's actually called Niceville.
Wow.
They have an open carry policy.
Yeah.
And
Florida's open carry, and it's shoot back.
Shoot back. Yeah.
So if someone shoots at you, you have the right to kill them.
But it was put to me like Brexit was coming around at the time. And I was having coffee with them. They were over here in Ireland, and my cousin's husband, who would be 1/4 Seminole Indian. That's for another day. But he was saying he thought Brexit was a fantastic idea. I says, why do you think that? Coming from Florida, well, why would you think? I says, well, I mean, it isn't just the European Union, it's essentially just Hitler getting his way. I was like, well,
we've made that assertion on the show as well.
Yeah, I says, it's a big brush you're using there now to go sweeping straight through. I says, it's handy. I says, I get you. I says, but
it's easy and it's diluted. It's a diluted.
Well, it's a comic book, isn't it?
Sure.
It's just gone.
But Germany are kind of the bosses of Europe.
Of course they are, yeah.
Without tanks or bombs or guns.
You wouldn't cross fucking England. No. Not with that haircut.
No, she'd fucking close your throat.
Oh, you know it.
With the open hand. You will sit down.
I just imagine her like being able to do cartwheels across the room and actually being a deadly dangerous like jiu-jitsu expert.
Yeah, like ninja stuff.
Yeah, even though she looks a little frumpy, like you go, nah, she'd fuck you up.
Did you see the face on her when she was talking to Trump? When he got inaugurated.
It's like there was she had a shit moustache. But see the way he even pulls people out of the way, like when he was at the... Do you remember he fucking pulled something and he probably yanked him out of the way too?
I read yesterday that he's 6'4" almost.
He's not, is he?
That's what he says. 6'4" and 239 pounds.
Is this a Kim Barra fuck off?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying as well. 6'4" is tall.
It's a bit... Who wasn't...
I didn't imagine him that tall.
He's not. He's fucking not.
That's what he says.
A 6'4" fellow would look 6'4" amongst all the other people he stands beside. Like.
He doesn't seem that tall compared to everyone else.
6 foot. You think of the last 6'4" fellow you stood beside? By Jesus, that was a big bloke to be looking up at. Like
Putin is the same size as you.
Yeah.
And he's able to do that judo, and he does jiu-jitsu.
He's deadly dangerous. Like,
but you can see like Trump like being that. He seems like a lad who was always big and was kind of a bully in school.
But sure, look at it. And you only look at the eyebrows on his father to know that man was a demon to have to fucking live up to. Look at the eyebrows. Remember the eyebrows? Have you seen the picture?
Yeah.
Like that man looks like a cartoon villain.
He looks like the fella off the paint in Ghostbusters 2. Doesn't he? You're like, Vigo.
Yes, Daddy.
But sure, it's a pure daddy issue, isn't it? Because the older brother was really the golden goose, but he didn't have a fucking tap of interest only in the booze and partying. Like.
Similarly in the Kennedys, like how hard is to live up to Joe Kennedy? And he's not as vilified as he should be for the stuff that he did. We did a show on him and I found out that he ended up lobotomizing his daughter because she was a little bit kind of fond of the willies. She was out and about and giving it loads, and they said she's mentally deficient, and they gave her a lobotomy and put her in a fucking institution for
Jesus.
And let his other two sons run for presidency, but like went, no, you're a woman, you're not good enough. Lobotomy.
He kept her quiet. Jesus,
we won't even get into feminism. But for this American tour, I want to talk like the gun control stuff. I have like Second Amendment rights and talk about like open carry and should people be allowed to have guns?
Do you know? Have you broken it down a list on where you're going to go and what?
Well, this is the thing. You see, we're starting off in California. We go down to San Diego and then across New Mexico into Texas, into Louisiana, skip through North Florida, and then up into the eastern states. So we're going through like Atlanta and North and South Virginia, North and South Carolina, into Washington, and then up into the northeast to New York, up to Maine, and then across into
Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's a little bit further on. We're going to upstate New York,
right,
and then into the whole like New England area, then down into the centre, because I want to miss the baddest winter. So we're going to be in New York by Christmas.
Right.
So then we go down back into the Midwest and across the Midlands.
Not
so we go into Ohio, Montana, and all of those, and then skip back over into Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, and hit like Chicago. I don't want to be in Chicago in the winter, man. You get fucked up. And then we're going to get as far as back to upstate New York.
Yeah.
And then straight away across over to Colorado. We were a month in Colorado because we were going around the whole state, and then a week or two in Utah, doing the whole Mormon thing.
Yeah.
and then up into the northwest. So we're going to be hitting through Idaho into Washington State.
Are you going to try and hit up any Amish?
Well, we're going to do all that in Pennsylvania.
Of course, yeah.
There's a few in the south as well. So there's a whole episode on religion. So like I want to do like the Baha'i faith. I want to talk to Jewish people. I want to talk to Catholics. I want to talk to the Filipino Christians. I want to talk to Jehovah's Witnesses. I want to talk to Muslims. I want to talk to
the Baptists,
like Baptists, the Holy Rollers, the Moonies. So I'm trying to find some cults and some kind of smaller, like just like after looking up, fucking hell, man. After looking up Heaven's Gate, you would be madly surprised how many cults are actually active.
Right.
You know, I want to go look at like the Manson Ranch, Span Ranch, California. I want to go to Ukiah in California to look at where Jim Jones and the lads started.
The lads, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff, even just about religion, and that's one episode. So I want to make 12 feature-length documentaries.
Yeah.
I want to make a daily vlog as well, so people can like join in on the adventure.
Yeah.
And then I want to I'm writing like a diary, but the diary will be like a travel log, and I'll have pictures and stuff like that. And then I'm going to turn that into a book then when I come home, because you're not really if you don't have a book these days, Tom.
Sure, this is it.
You know what I mean?
This is it.
The blind boy is paving the way.
Oh,
if you get a bestseller and then start the podcast, you end up at number one forever.
Of course you do, yeah.
That's what happens. So for the gun control thing, we're going to talk to militia members up in like South Dakota.
Yes,
lads that are like boxed off, like against the law. They don't pay taxes. They're all like, you know. We talk to lads about hunting and automatic rifle regulation. We're going to do one about economics. So we're going to talk to like bankers and stockbrokers and some people who lost their houses in the crash.
Right.
And talk to Bitcoin miners and people who deal with cryptocurrencies. We talk to lads who are hoarding gold and silver. We talk to people who are actual miners and work in talk about the lads who went to the gold rush in California, and talk to lads who like actually pan for gold and how to do that. Try to get all this kind of visual stuff, because I can talk about the details and speculate and all that stuff on the podcast, and that's the job for the podcast. But for the video thing, I want to talk to the people, ask them the questions that I want to ask, that we speculate on the show, and actually get some answers and get it on video and make it look cool, you know. We want on racism, so I want to talk to like white supremacists, to go to the KKK lads and be at a KKK rally and go like, what's going on? Try and talk to some people who are in Black Lives Matter and you know, these activist groups, and talk to like business dudes about workplace schemes like a diversity hire or something these guys, like, why would a business do that, and is that still in operation? Is there kind of like an under the carpet kind of thing where women and people of ethnic background are getting preferred now over white men, and what's actually happening with, like, you know, white dudes feeling like they're being subjugated in society and stuff like that. And then talking about we're going to do like Holocaust denial, and talk to the Anti-Defamation League, and talk to some.
You should get to the Native Americans too, who
Native Americans
who obviously
who were disenfranchised big time.
Well, they were, of course, but at the same time, there was. I have a direct link, shall we say, to somebody who would have denied their roots as a Native American, even though they were clearly Native American, because they were ashamed of it.
It'd be easier. Be easier in life to go around to it.
But at the time, when it was put to this lady by her relations, they would get huge tax breaks if she would just sign a piece of paper to say that she was 100% Native American. She wouldn't sign it. Huge tax breaks. And
you get benefits on one side and you get the leather glove on the other side then, you know.
Are you doing? You don't. Not we're talking in recent times.
Oh, right.
But she still would.
Jeez, why wouldn't you?
Because she still lived with the shame of being a Native American.
That's mad, isn't it?
But then I suppose that's only a certain part of America. They're still very proud Native Americans, like, too. You know what I mean? Like, but
I want to tell those stories, like, to find those people, and then some of the other ones just to touch on, like terrorism. What about domestic terrorism? About the lads who did Boston bombing. I want to talk about. Do you know, like Muslims in America, what it's like to live, and are people going like, oh, look at your man, has he got a bomb? You know, this kind of stuff. From watching Rotten on Netflix, you watch it too. I want to talk about food and how food is created, farming practices, high fructose corn syrup, and the emphasis on sugar.
Shit they're pumping into their cattle.
Like school dinners and how people are eating and what fast food like is actually there. I'm not going to do a fucking Morgan Spurlock and eat a load of McDonald's, but to even go in and say, like, you know, how has how has this changed, or how has families' eating habits, like in relation to fast food, and the fact that there are like home delivery services that can deliver wholesome food to your house.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that instead of going for a burger?
Like Blue Apron or one of your sponsors.
Yeah, these HelloFresh.
Yeah,
who
HelloFresh.
sponsor our show. I want to talk about like medicine and psychology, and how loads of kids are on drugs for ADHD and all this kind of
Prices
stuff.
are fucking medicine.
Exactly.
I'd
What medical insurance is like.
based purely on that, because if he needed to continue
Madness.
and he was on great money over it, but it actually wouldn't work out.
He'd be losing.
It was cheaper for him to move home and get it here at a regulated price.
There was a study done the other day, and I read it, and I was fucking shocked.
Well,
Like, it'll cost $32,000 to have a baby in America, just to make it come out of your fanny and be put in your arms.
Paris
Cost you $32,000, right? And America has the highest infant and maternal mortality rate of any developed nation. So not only is it the most expensive country to have a baby in, it's the highest risk.
Jesus Christ, you want the Rolls Royce of a baby popping out of it.
Just imagine that.
32 grand.
32 grand, and you have the highest rate of the chance of dying while squeezing out a 32 grand worth of a birth. For the specifics of that fact, I haven't looked into yet. It could be fake news. It's something I read on an article the other day. I have no reason to.
Or it could be
to
location
unbelieve it.
completely.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it could be skewed stats or whatever. I reserve the right to be wrong, Tom. But
By
it
Jesus.
seems mental that it's like the highest level of maternal and
32 Jesus.
32 Gs.
You would want to speak 4 languages and be able to make decent toasted sandwiches.
Yeah, wearing a Rolex. Oh, he caught me on the lip on the way out there. The Rolex. But this is what it is. It has to, like those things have to be looked into, and people in Ireland don't know. It's part of the grout. Do you know? They're looking at that going, the way American medical
But
things.
sure, people in America don't know.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking with Samantha that last time, she was saying that her husband, up until relatively recently, because he never had a passport.
Didn't need it probably.
As he said, he grew up in California. In the same fucking week, you could go skiing up one part of it and sunning yourself in the other part.
Yeah.
So,
And get any type of food or service that you
anything you
wanted.
want.
Everything is there.
Anything you want.
Yeah.
Go climb a fucking mountain, stand in a field, or go swim in the sea. You can do whatever
The stats on that are skewed though. There's more than 70% of people in America actually have a passport.
Right.
And the commonly held number is like
98%.
Only 10% of Americans have passports. It's actually a little over 70%.
Right.
So it's those kind of things that I wanted to have a look at what's going on. But for medicine, like to look at how much it would cost if you had something like a terminal illness.
Oh Jesus!
Like if you have cancer here in Ireland, there's oncology services, and you're going out to James's or you're going wherever, and you're being kind of taken care of on the States dollar.
Yeah.
And it's done in an emergency. It's maybe not done as quick as it should be. What happens if you get cancer, if you get leukemia, if you get like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's in America? Are you just like a cash cow that has a finite, sell by date or a die by date, and they're just going to milk the shit out of your insurance until you die? Like
But
how does insurance
private
work?
medical is a huge thing over.
The state of how people get qualified, you're going into like $250,000 debt if you want to go to medical school in America.
Just like my cousin.
I want to interview those people and go, why are you doing that to work 20-hour days and get into $250,000
Making
debt
your mother proud.
and not make a penny in profit until you're in your mid-40s?
It broke the poor bastard. They were checking his
Mad.
yearly results. The bank were checking his yearly results to see if they top up, you know what I mean, give you next year's. And like the fucking hell on earth he had to go through, like.
But they love it, and you know what I think?
See, they
that
grease
is-
the wheels too, Gordon. What they do is they won't just give you the 60 Gs
No.
to go to college. They'll give you fucking 8.
buy a car as well,
Yeah,
to get you there.
So you're rolling around
and a laptop. Don't forget the
a nice
laptop.
pickup
and all
truck.
that
You might have a motorbike for the weekends,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, then you have the laptop, and you live in a nice environment, and it's all been kept on the layway. Like, don't be worried now. Just keep up the grades, work your bollocks off, and keep up your grades. Before you know it, then you're 55, and you might have come out the other end of it. But they'll probably have loaded you with credit cards at that stage anyway. You're up to
And then a nice mortgage when you got
and
the
then you
good job.
fucking youngsters who are going to college then by the time you're fucking 58, and then you're up to your fucking hole because you got to co-sign all this fucking shit.
You're never out of debt.
No.
But I think that's because in the 70s, in America, with $20,000 you could buy a mansion,
Yeah.
right? Now you're going to need $500,000 minimum to be buying houses, right? I know in places that's not correct, so anyone American listening,
Yeah.
I know they're correct, but this is just for the sake of the story. And now, because young people under 30 are not eligible, or they're not in the position to be able to get a mortgage. They're not they're not married. They don't have kids. They don't need or want to buy a full-time house. A lot of them don't even have, you know, a car. Sometimes they're living at home with mum and dad, living in cities. They don't need to have that kind of stuff. So what's the best way to get them on the debt ladder? Because before it was like, give the cunts houses. Give them 2 fucking houses. Do you know, if you ever watched The Big Short, the crux of the movie is when your man is in the strip club and the stripper goes, like, I have 3 houses. And he goes, you know, the interest rate's going up on them next year. You're going to be paying this much. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, that moment happened for a lot of people in 2007. And they went, oh shit, yeah, no, I can't do that. And anyone after that has not been able to.
I worked in the buildings, I saw it.
You, as a person now in any country, are not able to be in that amount of debt as early. So they're losing out on 15 years of money, basically, of profit on your debt. So what they're doing there was putting that onto people who are going to college, and instead of taking out 100 grand or 150 grand as you would in like 2000 to buy a house, you're taking out 100 or 150 grand to go to college, to then pay that back to get a job, so that you'll be able to get the $500,000 mortgage to buy the house and be perpetually in debt. But you're always a customer. From 18, you're still a customer.
But just like Patreon, what they're doing then is they're giving you a highly successful fucking football team with 100,000 seater stadium. You're going, this represents us. We are we wear our colours, and this is why we're happy to pay 60,000 a year or whatever to go to this.
They're giving you an identity and a personality and a community.
Look, we have 3 jets flying over just before the national anthem is sang, before every game.
But it's promised away, like in years away. You're like, listen, you'll take it off us now and pay us back over the next, like, don't even start paying us back for like 6 years. Say nothing. But they have you, man. That's like the mafia. That's like the Chinese triads shipping lads out of the country, and then you're working a job in Ireland or England or somewhere in Europe, and you have to pay them back every month.
That's it. You're gutting fish.
That's your ass for life. So those kind of things I want to look into. I want to travel. I want to meet the people. I want to go to the places, and then hit up, like, you know, if you're driving along and it says like America's most haunted house, or
absolutely,
you know, come and see the bones of John Dillinger. Like, whoop, here we go for the vlog, and we go, and like, you know, hit up all the spots, like hit every state, hit all the cities, go to the conspiracy spots and try and meet these people, and go to a few shows, meet a few podcasters, meet a few YouTubers, make some collaborations, and try and, you know, get into that conspiracy community. I'm friends with a lot of people online who are in these conspiracy podcasts, like the lads from the Higher Side Chats, or Sam Tripoli, and the crowd that
Eddie Bravo,
the lads that are around Joe Rogan. So I'm going to try and get to Joe and see if I can get on the show, see if I can, you know, be like, how are you going? I'm Irish. The one time I'll use my Irishness, you know, to fucking get into something.
Or walk in with a flag over your shoulder.
How's it going?
I grew up next, just put on a Dublin accent and just say you grew up in Crumlin, or whatever.
What are you going to do, Joe? You'll do fucking nothing.
Like,
who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck are you?
But just try and get onto it, try and get some exposure, and try and get over there. I'm going over in March as a kind of a reconnaissance mission to try and see about like vans and stuff like that, and locations and costs and insurance and this kind of stuff. So it's all very much like gung-ho big business, as well as producing, you know, a 5-hour show every 2 weeks, a 2-hour true crime show every other week, and then I have another podcast called Why Press Play as well, which is
our one is out this week, is it?
I'm putting out Legally Blonde. Look, it's very funny.
Check out all of these ones. They make especially the movie one. If you've any interest in movies, this is a very tasty one. I think we're being joined by a gang of lads here.
We are. Just a reserved table.
Do you know what? We'll stick a fork in this. We've had a fantastic podcast. Check out Gordon anywhere, with of course the Conspiracy Guys podcast. Where's best actually?
ThoseConspiracyGuys.com is the website. And you can find everything. And when I get closer, we get closer. ThoseConspiracyGuys.com has everything on it. If you want to have a good go at a GoFundMe, like a lot of people are like, hey man, you know, I'll meet you, I'll buy you a beer. Instead of buying me a beer, because I don't drink, I want to GoFundMe.com/TCGTV and throw like a $5 in it.
You're not going to be sorry. You're not going to be sorry.
You'll get everything. You get access to a Discord server, so we hang out in Discord. I'm into the apps, Tom. I love a few apps.
Yes.
We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/ThoseConspiracyGuys. Any social media /ThoseConspiracyGuys.
You'll find it.
And Patreon is kind of the blood life.
Keeps the lights on.
Absolutely, lights on, tea in the mugs. And loads of people get extra secret stuff like outtakes and stuff. they get behind the scenes vlogs, and we make a vlog on recording day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Extra stuff. And but the GoFundMe is the main focus now. I'm going to make those 12 documentaries. I'm going to try and sell them to like Netflix or Hulu, or maybe release them as a web series for subscription. But I want to make them. I want to have the experience of it. I want to do the daily vlog, and I want to get out of the office and make something. And meet these people and try and use my influence. Now I'm getting millions of downloads. I think I counted it up the other day. From the start of September 2014 until now, there's over 10 million downloads on my
Sweet
show.
Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
And nobody in Ireland is talking about it.
I am.
It seems. Oh, you are. Thanks very much. But it seems so weird that like a podcast that's as successful as this, that's totally independent, that has been produced predominantly by one dude, an Irish guy who was in stand-up comedy for years and never got any recognition. Now I have a little bit of traction, making money. It's my full-time job. We have 400,000 plus subscribers. We get almost 1 million downloads a month. We're sponsored by one of the premier advertising companies in America. They sponsor Serial and This American Life and the H3 podcast and Rooster Teeth and the Savage Lovecast, like top
I
company.
do think Ireland is behind the times.
And Gordon Hayden from Spin FM has been very good to me. Really good dude, great producer.
But he's forward thinking as well.
Exactly, yeah. He's looking at that stuff. He has his own podcast. He knows the crack.
Yeah.
And he's reached out to me. He's helped me out. Lauren as well and Rachel from Spain as well.
Both have been on.
Exactly. The lads on FM 104. I do a Friday night kind of a jibe with them for an hour.
Right.
And we talk about conspiracy theories and stuff. Like those lads have looked into stuff and they know what the crack is, and they're kind of seeing the value of this. It is the new rock and roll, Tom. Conspiracy theories is new rock and roll.
No, it is, yeah.
It's happening, like. But I just think for the level that I'm at, I don't think, and this sounds a bit audacious or whatever, like I don't think I'm getting the exposure that should be afforded to the show and the guests on the show and the content that's being made, because it's not just me, it's loads of Dublin comedians, like yourself, like Ed Salmon, Emmett Quinn, Gary Jones, Robbie Bonham at one stage, Eamon O'Neill, he's a writer, a singer as well. I know I'm going to forget somebody when I say all this list. Cormac Moore from the Project 10 podcast is going to be on our next one. My girlfriend Claire, like all of these people, really talented folks, and should be getting more traction, I think. So I'm out there. If anyone's listening and you want to get in on the ground floor, like this is what's happening now. America's the next thing, and a TV show. And
I'll put all the links obviously to this in the description as well. Other than that, Gordo, we could have actually gone on for about 5 hours because we've known each other since we started comedy.
That's a Those Conspiracy Guys episode.
Exactly. Well, at some stage I hope to be on.
Sure.
But for now, thank you very much, Gordon.
Thank you.